The events of September 11th, 2001 will never be forgotten. They changed our country. They changed the world. Millions of Americans and others across the globe watched in disbelief as a tragedy unlike anything they had ever known before unfolded on live television before their very eyes. The magnitude of the disaster was unprecedented, unimaginable. It was so sudden, so violent, the devastation so complete that an exact figure on the loss of life is difficult to determine. The estimates, though, are staggering. Over 4,590 people, most of them civilian, lost their life on that day. Thousands more were critically wounded and hospitalized. Husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors, co-workers. It is impossible to number all who were affected or to measure the impact these terrorist attacks will have on the world's future. The terrorist attacks of September 11th turned America's skies and two of our most respected landmarks into literal war zones. Never in the history of the United States have so many civilians perished in a single coordinated attack. Rarely, if ever, has the face of the world changed so much in so short a time. The attacks of September 11th were acts of terrorism intended to destabilize and undermine the American way of life. It was not, however, the first time in recent years that American interests had been attacked. In 1993, the World Trade Center was rocked when a car bomb exploded in an underground parking garage. In 1998, the American embassies in Kenya and Tanzania were leveled in a coordinated terrorist attack. In 2000, the USS Cole sustained heavy damage and casualties when rammed by a boat filled with explosives in Yemen. Unfortunately, these and other attempts to terrorize America failed to awaken our sense of vulnerability. In many countries, anti-terrorist measures such as security checkpoints, rigid airport security, and heightened police and military presence are commonplace. But America had yet to adopt the strict security measures seen in other parts of our world. In fact, the hijackers didn't even violate a single regulation when they carried box cutters and knives onto the airplanes they boarded on September 11th. Knife blades up to 4 inches long were allowed. The terrorists recognized America's vulnerabilities and exploited them. On the morning of September 11th, 2001, the skies over New York, indeed over the entire New England seaboard, were crystal clear. Boston's Logan International Airport. Passengers prepared to board American Airlines Flight 11 bound for Los Angeles. Included in the passenger manifest are 5 men later identified as hijackers. With 92 on board, Flight 11 departs Boston. Newark, New Jersey. United Airlines Flight 93 is boarding passengers bound for San Francisco. Flight 93 has 45 people on board, including 4 hijackers. Washington Dulles Airport. American Airlines Flight 77 boards 64 people headed for Los Angeles, including 5 men with a different destination in mind. Finally, back at Boston's Logan International, United Airlines Flight 175 prepares for an 8:14 departure for Los Angeles. Again, 5 hijackers are among the 65 passengers and crew. Shortly after 8 a.m., all 4 planes are in the air. At around 8:27, the 2 flights out of Logan International, American Flight 11 and United Flight 175, suddenly change course, turning south from their westerly flight paths. At 8:45 a.m., the unthinkable happens. American Airlines Flight 11 slams into the North Tower of the World Trade Center between the 80th and 85th floors. Confusion and panic grip those inside. The impact is felt throughout the North Tower and even by those in the South Tower.
I was on the 59th floor of Building 2 when all of a sudden I heard a large whooshing noise that no one knew what it was about, but we ran and we went to the window. We saw Building 1 was on fire.
Soon, people can be seen jumping from the upper floors of the North Tower to escape the flames, fumes, and smoke.
Plus, I saw people jump from like about the 90th floor from the outside. Very hard to say. A lot of people escaped, though.
On the ground, people scatter to avoid the falling debris. Emergency personnel immediately respond to the disaster, completely unaware of its magnitude. Images of the burning building are broadcast worldwide on live television. Little is known about what has just happened, and speculation runs rampant as the minutes tick by.
and we heard this great big loud sound, and I said, thunder. And then my daughter said, no, Mama, it's not thunder. That was an explosion.
Since few people actually saw the first airliner strike the North Tower, theories over what had happened were varied. Some suspected a terrorist bomb planted within the tower, while others talked of an accidental plane crash. At 9:03, all speculation ends, and people's worst fears are confirmed. Millions, riveted to their TV sets, watch in horror as another airliner, United Airlines Flight 175, crashes into the South Tower of the World Trade Center.
Oh my word! Oh my word! I'm sorry I screamed. That's on purpose, Alfred. Somebody's doing this on purpose. Oh my goodness.
Flaming debris again rains down on onlookers and rescue workers. The aircraft that the terrorists chose as their weapons that day in New York were Boeing 767s. These planes had a wingspan of 156 feet and were fully loaded with over 20,000 gallons of fuel in anticipation of their planned coast-to-coast flights. It has been estimated that the force contained in the impact and subsequent explosion and fire from each of the planes is equal to as much as 1/20th of the power contained in the atomic bomb dropped in Hiroshima in World War II.